The haunting question lingers in the air, a chilling image haunting the mind of those who knew her. Did Mario Garcia kill Christie Wilson? In a desperate denial, he insisted he had no involvement in her disappearance. How could she simply vanish after spending time with him? In the depths of their torment, Christie's family felt the weight of unanswered questions. Mario, a consistent and narcissistic manipulator, left them grappling with the uncertainty surrounding Christie's fate. 15 years had passed, yet hope flickered anew as law enforcement officials returned to the heart of this mystery, providing the Wilson family with a semblance of closure. It was October 5, 2005, when the Thunder Valley Casino in Lincoln, California, became the backdrop for a night that would change lives. Christie Wilson sat at one of the blackjack tables, fully immersed in the game. Christie was no novice. She had honed her skills at the blackjack tables, her talent for numbers allowing her to calculate odds and percentages with remarkable speed. That night, she was in her element, enjoying the thrill of the game. After speaking with her boyfriend, she reassured him that she would be home shortly. But those words would be her last. The following day, as the sun rose without her, he filed a missing persons report, igniting the search for Christie Wilson. At just 27 years old, Christie was the beloved daughter of Debbie and Dennis. Following the dissolution of their marriage, Debbie wed Pat, a police detective in San Jose. Family bonds ran deep, and Christie's connection to her loved ones was unwavering. Her best friend, Tiffany, described a bond akin to soul sisters, inseparable through life's ups and downs. I picture her in our front room, dancing and laughing, always the light on my darkest days, Tiffany recalled, the warmth of their friendship unmistakable. Christie found love with Danny Barlando, having met him at the casino the previous year. Their relationship blossomed, but it was not without its storms. They soon moved in together, their connection marked by both passion and conflict. Just a month before her disappearance, a fierce argument had escalated to a point where the police had to intervene. Both Danny and Christie were arrested for domestic violence, a sign of the turmoil that now seemed to foreshadow darker events. In the aftermath of her disappearance, investigators scrutinized call logs revealing that Danny had desperately called her phone 78 times. As a police officer, Pat's instincts told him something was fundamentally wrong. It was an unsettling feeling. Nothing about the situation added up. Christie's car remained in the parking lot, and the apartment offered no clues. There were no signs of a struggle, no indication that she had left willingly. All of her cherished belongings, including her beloved cat, were untouched. It was unfathomable that she would simply disappear without a trace, especially with an upcoming job interview on the horizon. Danny recalled their last conversation just before midnight on October 4th at 10:28 p.m. They spoke for 55 seconds, Christie assuring him she would come home soon after finishing up at the casino. Surveillance footage captured her taking that call, a chilling reminder of the last moments anyone would see her. When she failed to return home, Danny's worry turned to desperation, and by Wednesday at 10:15, he began leaving frantic messages. "It's been 24 hours since I last heard from you, and I'm worried sick. Please call me if you're okay," he pleaded, unaware that the search for Christie Wilson was only just beginning. As a mother's intuition gnawed at her, Debbie Boyd urged her daughter to reach out if anything felt amiss. Yet silence echoed back from Christie. Desperate and worried, she resolved to go to the police, filing a missing persons report. Investigator Don Murchison promptly initiated the interview with Danny Barlando, Christie's boyfriend. Murchison found Danny to be exceedingly cooperative as he recounted his whereabouts on the night of Christie's disappearance. He claimed he had been enjoying dinner with his parents, but there remained a troubling gap. Several hours where his actions were unaccounted for, stretching from the moment he was dropped off at home at 11:30 p.m. Determined to retrace Christie's last known steps, the police redirected their investigation to the Thunder Valley Casino, the last place she had been seen. The casino's extensive network of surveillance cameras held the key to piecing together the events of that fateful night. The footage revealed a chilling timeline, meticulously detailing Christie's movements. She was spotted entering the casino parking lot, her demeanor seemingly vibrant as she headed inside. Once there, she settled at a blackjack table, engaging in the game with a mix of excitement and caution. However, as the video rolled on, a disquieting detail emerged. An older man, seated beside Christie, was seen leaning in, attempting to engage her, even trying to drape an arm around her. But Christie, displaying remarkable resolve, quickly rebuffed his advances. Despite having a drink, she was far from intoxicated. The casino staff, familiar with her usual demeanor, noted a stark deviation from the Christy they knew. Her behavior that night raised red flags, prompting discussions among staff about the possibility of asking her to leave. Just then, the man intervened, asserting that he would take care of her. Together they exited the casino at 1:13 a.m. Yet, in a disturbing twist, Christie's car remained unmoved in the parking lot. She had seemingly vanished without a trace. In the face of this mystery, search and rescue teams sprang into action, scouring the area with relentless determination. They combed through the terrain by car, on foot, and even from above in helicopters. Friends and community members rallied together, united in their quest to find Christy. Driven by an unyielding resolve, Debbie vowed to locate her daughter. Her voice rang out with fierce determination. "I want my daughter back, and I want her back now. I may be 5'1" and blonde, but they just met a barracuda, and the fight's on." But who was the enigmatic man captured on the footage? Fortunately for investigators, they were able to swiftly identify him. Just moments before Christie's arrival, he had utilized his casino card at a slot machine. The card belonged to a 53-year-old man named Mario Garcia. Mario Garcia appeared to lead an ordinary life as a married father of 2 teenage sons. He was employed as a project manager at a local hospital, and his wife, Jean, described him as a devoted family man, a sentiment echoed by his son, Chris. Authorities promptly arrived at Mario's residence, a sprawling 5-acre property in Austin, California, to conduct thorough searches of both his home and vehicle. Upon their arrival, they noted peculiar scratches on his chest and face, injuries that none of the casino patrons remembered seeing that night. One eyewitness, an emergency room doctor who had been seated just 2 feet away from Mario, was adamant. "I didn't see any injuries, no, and I'm reasonably good at making those kinds of observations." Adding to the mystery, it was revealed that the day following Christie's disappearance, Mario had visited an eye doctor, and his coworkers had also noticed the suspicious injuries. In an attempt to explain his wounds, he claimed they were the result of poison oak and an unfortunate fall from a tree. "Looks like somebody smacked you under your eye. You might have had a little accident with a tractor in the field and a poison oak on my face," a colleague remarked. Yet this explanation posed a curious question. Had he truly been engaged in yard work that day? Upon returning home from the casino, just hours before the dawn broke, the scene was anything but ordinary. The scratches found on his body were not the result of a random mishap in the yard. They bore a distinctive and ominous pattern. These marks appeared to be the result of someone dragging their fingernails across his face and chest. Soon after, he found himself arrested on a weapons charge. He vehemently denied any involvement in the fate that befell Christie Wilson. In his defense, he claimed that their encounter had been innocent. They had merely played a game of blackjack together. After saying their goodbyes, he drove away alone, his car captured on surveillance footage, leaving the lot just 4 minutes later. Yet he speculated that maybe her boyfriend, Danny Barlando, was somehow entangled in her disappearance. Despite the rocky nature of Christie's relationship with Danny, investigators found no substantial evidence to implicate him. He seemed genuinely concerned for her safety, which only deepened the focus on Mario Garcia as the investigation progressed. Digging into Mario's past, detectives uncovered a troubling history that heightened their alarm. In 1978, near Oakland, California, a then 27-year-old Mario had begun dating his neighbor, Wendy Ward, who was just 26. What initially appeared to be a budding romance soon revealed Mario's explosive temper, particularly when Wendy attempted to end their relationship. On January 12, 1979, in a horrifying act of control, he forced Wendy into his van. In a chilling recounting of her ordeal, Wendy described the moment he seized her, his grip tightening around her neck as he threatened, "You do anything. I will take your head and I will smash it." His demands escalated, but she resolutely refused to comply. Desperately clawing at him, fighting for her life, Wendy felt the air escape her lungs as he began to choke her. The terror of that moment hung over her as he drove her back to his apartment, where the nightmare would continue. There, Mario committed the unimaginable. He raped her. He brandished a gun, pressing it against her head and pulling the trigger, only to mock her with the words, "Well, it wasn't loaded this time." With a chilling calmness, he declared, "Basically, I can come and get you anytime I want." After violating her a second time, he casually prepared a sandwich before driving Wendy back home. "I'm surprised that I actually am alive. I'm very lucky," she would later reflect. Wendy immediately sought help at a hospital, and soon after, Mario found himself in handcuffs. The Alameda County District Attorney's Office recommended charging him with 2 counts of forcible rape, 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of burglary, and 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon. Yet, the case stagnated for 2 long years, eventually resulting in a plea deal where he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of assault with a deadly weapon. His punishment? A mere 18 months of probation. After Christie's disappearance, Detective Don Murchison sought out Wendy to discuss her harrowing experiences with Mario. Upon hearing about Christy, she felt a wave of nausea wash over her. She recounted the terror she had faced and revealed something deeply unsettling. Following his tumultuous relationship with Wendy, Mario had entered into another volatile partnership with a woman named Lynette Smith. Lynette, described by her brother Tom as vibrant and full of life, mirrored Wendy in many ways. However, this relationship was marked by Mario's rage, particularly when Lynette chose to terminate a pregnancy that resulted from their tumultuous affair. In a bid to celebrate the holiday season, Lynette Smith, along with her mother, Violet Davis, and Mario Garcia, gathered together for a festive Christmas dinner. That fateful night, after sharing laughter and warmth, the 3 of them climbed into Lynette's vehicle. A chilling call reverberated through emergency services, reporting a car submerged in the Oakland estuary. Upon arrival, responders discovered the lifeless bodies of Lynette and her mother, while Mario, inexplicably, had survived. He later recounted a moment of sheer panic, admitting to removing his seatbelt as the vehicle sank. In a desperate bid for freedom, he opened a window and clawed his way out as water rushed in. "I presumed everybody else got out," he stated, as he informed officers that Lynette had been driving. Yet the police faced a daunting challenge. They could not confirm who had been behind the wheel that night. Faced with mounting scrutiny, Mario retained a criminal lawyer before speaking to law enforcement, who advised him to remain silent. Meanwhile, the tragic news reached Lynette's brother, Tom, prompting him to connect with an old friend. That friend was none other than Wendy Ward. When Wendy learned of Lynette's relationship with Mario Garcia and the devastating loss of both Lynette and her mother in a car crash, she was taken aback. She confided in Tom, revealing her own tumultuous history with Mario and the horrors she endured during their time together. Despite the tragic circumstances, no charges were filed against Mario for the deaths of Lynette and Violet. However, for the detectives investigating the disappearance of Christie Wilson, a disturbing pattern began to emerge, casting a shadow over Mario's behavior. Their focus shifted to Mario's Toyota, where evidence suggested a cover-up. The car had been meticulously cleaned, and the mats from the trunk had vanished. Yet remnants of the past lingered in the form of hairs found in the trunk and on a door handle, hairs that matched Christie's. The implications were staggering. The likelihood of these hairs belonging to anyone else was a staggering 1 in 720 quintillion. A small stain discovered on the back seat hinted at something sinister, with presumptive tests indicating it was blood. However, due to the stain repellent, officers could not perform DNA analysis. Determined to unravel the mystery, investigators revisited the security footage from the casino. They knew Lynette and Mario had departed together at 1:00 a.m., but what else could the cameras reveal? As the footage played, Lynette could be seen pushing Mario's arm away as he attempted to put it around her. Frustratingly, the parking lot cameras were not fixed, causing critical moments to slip in and out of view. However, when Mario's Toyota unlocked, the lights flashed 4 times. 3 minutes and 41 seconds later, the headlights illuminated, and he maneuvered the vehicle out of its space. He claimed that Lynette had returned to the casino to retrieve her forgotten phone. Yet, this claim fell apart under scrutiny. Surveillance footage confirmed she never re-entered the casino. The last confirmed sighting of her was the footage showing her walking away with Mario, leaving the circumstances of her disappearance shrouded in mystery. The investigation took a dark turn when it was revealed that the surveillance cameras had not captured Christie Wilson re-entering the casino to retrieve her belongings. This left investigators with the last confirmed sighting of her, walking away alongside Mario Garcia, a man whose presence would soon become synonymous with tragedy. Law enforcement officials speculated that Christie had been incapacitated within the vehicle, likely in the rear seats, hidden from the watchful eyes of the cameras. Garcia claimed he drove directly home, but his narrative began to unravel under scrutiny. Why, investigators wondered, did the footage depict him driving in the opposite direction? Although he insisted he returned home, went to bed, and departed for work around 8:30 a.m., his cell phone records told a different story. A call he made to his wife at 7 o'clock a.m. pinged off a tower well north of his home. His wife, however, proved to be uncooperative, unwilling to speak with the police. As they delved deeper into his account, more inconsistencies surfaced. Despite his claims of punctuality for a 9 o'clock a.m. appointment, his coworkers noted that he arrived much later, closer to 10 o'clock a.m. 3 weeks had passed since Christy was last seen at the casino, and search efforts yielded no clues. It became evident that the authorities had enough grounds to charge Mario Garcia with murder. This marked a significant moment in the county's judicial history, as prosecutors faced the daunting challenge of pursuing a case without a body. Friends and family speculated whether Mario had drugged Christy, and unsettling discoveries soon came to light. Just 1 week after her disappearance, Mario was found to have conducted online searches about testing for date rape drugs. He also frequented sites discussing forensic firearms and toxicology. Despite the growing evidence, he continued to deny any involvement in her disappearance. In an interview with 48 Hours in 2006, he vehemently claimed no connection to Christy's fate, recounting their time at the casino. He recalled, "We were at that table for a period of time until that table got hot. She asked me, 'Hey, do you want to go to another table?' And I said, 'Sure.'" When correspondent Aaron Moriarty pressed him on Christy's sudden disappearance, he could only respond, "I don't have answers for that." The conversation turned to his past with Wendy, where he dismissed her allegations as false. He claimed there was no gun involved and referred to their relationship as stormy. Amidst the growing suspicion, Garcia attempted to dismiss allegations concerning Wendy, another woman from his past. He claimed her accusations were unfounded, asserting that their relationship had been merely stormy, devoid of any violence or threats. He categorically denied any physical abuse. In September 2006, the trial of Mario Garcia commenced. His attorney argued that insufficient evidence existed to convict him of murder, suggesting that Christy might still be alive, somewhere. But the evidence painted a far grimmer picture. Garcia was the last person seen with Christy. The surveillance footage confirmed they left together. Scratches marred his skin, injuries that were absent when they were last seen at the casino. He had driven away from his home, and his alibi crumbled as it was revealed he was not home when he claimed to be. Moreover, he had been late for work the following day, seeking medical attention for injuries to his face. His internet search history raised further alarms, but the most damning evidence was yet to come. Christy's blood and hair were discovered in his car. While the jury remained unaware of his violent past, one individual stood in solidarity with Christy's family throughout the trial: Wendy. Her presence represented a powerful statement of unity in the face of adversity. His sentencing was scheduled for January. Debbie Boyd, Christy's mother, held on to hope that he might reveal Christy's whereabouts if offered a reduced sentence. But Mario remained steadfast in his denial. As the sentencing hearing approached in January, Debbie Boyd, Christy's mother, held on to hope that a plea deal might coax a confession from Garcia about Christy's whereabouts. Yet her hopes were dashed. In a chilling declaration, Garcia defiantly proclaimed his innocence. "I did not kill Christie Wilson. I am innocent," he stated, refusing any appeal for mercy or remorse. Ultimately, he was sentenced to 25 years to life. However, following revelations of his prior assault on Wendy, his minimum term was doubled to 59 years to life. His incarceration began on January 11, 2007, and shortly after, his wife, Jean, filed for divorce. The sentencing hearing provided Christy's family an opportunity to confront the man who had so drastically altered their lives. Christy's sister, Stacy, expressed her profound grief, stating, "She was a part of me. I've lost a part of my past." Christy's stepfather condemned Mario as a sick human being, asserting a belief that he would never reveal the location of their daughter's remains. Dennis, Christy's father, echoed this sentiment, expressing his deep conviction that Garcia would kill again. Overcome with raw emotion, Dennis addressed the court, lamenting the future moments he would miss. He spoke of the wedding day he would never get to witness, and the grandchildren he would never play with. His voice was thick with grief as he attributed this loss to Mario's complete disregard for human life. The courtroom was filled with the heartbroken loved ones of Lynette Smith and Violet Davis, who had tragically perished when their vehicle crashed into the Oakland estuary. In that solemn space, Marilyn, Lynette's sister and Violet's daughter, had prepared a statement that she ultimately chose not to read aloud. Although the statement was not spoken, it resonated in the hearts of those present. The judge acknowledged its weight, as Marilyn had penned. "Mario, only you and God know for certain what transpired on the night of December 25th, 1979. I can't say if there is a life after this one, but I do believe that if there is..." My mother and Lynette welcomed Christy as she arrived, and the three of them helped me write this statement. Marilyn concluded with a heartfelt wish that Mario would remain imprisoned, relieved that justice had finally been served. Yet, as Detective Don Murchison observed, the situation was undeniably bittersweet. He remarked, "The system failed, Wendy. It failed many individuals. It failed Lynette Smith and Violet Davis. The past loomed large, as the investigations of that era were marred by inconsistencies. While Mario had been apprehended, one haunting question lingered. Where was Christie Wilson? Debbie Boyd, Christie's mother, clung to the hope that justice had been served. She expressed her agony, stating that if Mario possessed any shred of humanity, he would disclose where he had disposed of her daughter. The torment of uncertainty consumed her. Determined not to relent, detectives Don Murchison and Nuno Tavares remained resolute in their quest to find Christy. For them, Mario's conviction was merely a starting point. They embarked on exhaustive searches, scouring septic tanks, and abandoned mine shafts, leaving no stone unturned. Detective Murchison recounted the lengths they went to, stating, "We actually pumped an entire septic tank out. 2,000 gallons of sewage were removed, and we sifted through it by hand, but still, nothing. Our mission was clear. We wanted to show Mario that he would not win. We were determined to find her and bring Christy home to her family." However, Mario Garcia continued to file appeals against his conviction, complicating the healing process for Christy's family. Debbie reflected on the emotional toll of the ongoing appeals, revealing, "You can't completely move forward with all these legal battles. It feels like you take 5 steps forward only to be dragged back into the chaos." Fast forward to 2017. In an unexpected turn, Debbie made the decision to reach out to Mario. To her surprise, he responded with a letter. While he did not confess to Christy's murder, he extended an apology to Debbie, hinting that he might offer information if granted an early release. "I would give you anything if I could go home to die surrounded by my family," he wrote. Struggling with the implications of his words, Debbie ultimately severed contact with him. She chastised herself, thinking, "What on earth are you doing, Debbie? Get a grip. It would be a disgrace. He will not use my daughter's body as a bargaining chip." Firm in her resolve, she recognized the disgrace of allowing him to manipulate her grief. Meanwhile, Detectives Murchison and Tavares pressed on, intensifying their efforts to uncover Christy's fate by tracing Mario's sons and reaching out to them for answers. In a desperate plea for answers, investigators questioned those who knew Christie Wilson, hoping to unearth any detail that might lead them to her. Among those recounting the harrowing days that followed Christy's disappearance were Andy and Chris, the sons of Mario Garcia. They meticulously detailed the Saturday that marked 4 days since Christy's vanishing, a day forever etched in their minds. During that Saturday, Chris was meant to be at a soccer game. Instead, he witnessed his father, Mario, frantically working on a tractor. The boy recalled a wild look in his father's eyes, a stark contrast to the calm demeanor he had always known. It was then that Mario told Chris he would not be attending the game, an unusual and alarming declaration from a father who typically supported his son. This unsettling behavior prompted investigators to revisit the property, even though it had been searched previously. Given the gravity of the situation, they believed a second search could yield new information about Christy's fate. The family had vacated the property in 2007, but officers asked Chris to pinpoint the exact location where he had seen his father that fateful day. He directed them to a spot near the detached garage right along the road in August 2020. Equipped with ground-penetrating radar, the search team meticulously scanned a 5-acre radius. Initial attempts yielded no results, but on the third try, just 100 yards from the home, they made a chilling discovery: a bone. This bone would later be confirmed to belong to Christie Wilson. As they carefully unearthed more dirt, the skeletal remains of Christy were finally revealed, identified through dental records. There were no remnants of clothing or jewelry found in Placer County. The body of Christie Wilson had been uncovered, 15 long years after she was kidnapped from Thunder Valley Casino. Authorities credited the tireless efforts of Christie's family and the relentless dedication of detectives for this breakthrough. While this tragic discovery did not alter the trajectory of the case against her killer, Mario Garcia, it provided some solace to Christie's grieving family. Investigators revealed that Garcia had never shown any genuine willingness to assist in the investigation. Questions lingered as to why the initial search team had failed to uncover the remains. The answer lay in the vastness of the property, cluttered with landscaping, giving Garcia ample time to conceal his dark actions over those fateful 4 days. Despite using cadaver dogs during the first search, they had detected nothing. Detective Nuno Tavares explained the limitations of such tools. Sometimes they work, sometimes they fail. Although the cause of death remained undetermined, Christie's remains revealed a broken hand and a broken nose. In the wake of this revelation, Christie's family addressed the media, expressing a profound sense of relief. Debbie Boyd, Christie's mother, spoke with a bittersweet joy, marking a day that had come after a torturous 14-and-a-half-year journey, a day they had long awaited. For Debbie, it was a day of peace, a long-sought tranquility that had eluded them for years. They finally felt able to close a chapter filled with torment and uncertainty. Despite months of tireless searching, it wasn't until last week that Wilson's body was finally discovered. For Debbie Boyd, the mother of Christie Wilson, the sentencing was a long-awaited moment of closure. She reflected on the bittersweet day, calling it a day of peace, a peace that had eluded her for far too long. To finally bring an end to this chapter of torment, the search for Christie Wilson's body had spanned months, yet it remained elusive until just last week. Detectives returned to the former residence of Mario Garcia in Auburn, capturing drone footage of the sprawling 4.5-acre property. Despite prior searches having taken place, this time yielded results, thanks to cutting-edge underground technology and fresh leads. The use of ground-penetrating radar allowed investigators to refine their search area, leading them to the grim discovery of her remains. Placer County Sheriff Devin Bell expressed the collective longing for closure among the community, stating, "We've all been longing for closure, and today we can move one step closer." The Placer County District Attorney hailed the day as a significant milestone for justice. The jury faced a challenging task, yet they executed their duty with precision. This case exemplified the utmost perseverance from all involved. The dedication of the police department was unwavering. These officers worked relentlessly to unravel the truth behind Christie's disappearance. Their efforts culminated in a fateful evening in Scottsdale, Arizona, when Placer County detectives, who had devoted countless hours to the case, knocked on Debbie Boyd's door. Placer County detectives, having invested countless hours into the investigation, prepared to deliver news that would forever change Debbie's life. Standing at her threshold, she was engulfed in a haze of disbelief. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her heart racing as she instinctively feared the worst. When she inquired, "Oh my gosh, did you find her?" the detectives nodded solemnly, an affirmation that sent her spiraling into shock. Overwhelmed, she kept repeating, "Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure?" The detectives reassured her. "Yes, we are. We're absolutely sure." At the press conference where the announcement was made, Placer County Sheriff Devin Bell addressed the media with a sense of gravity. "What's important for everyone to remember is that the search for Christie never stopped. Since 2005, we have been relentless in our pursuit." Sheriff Bell emphasized the tenacity and commitment of the detectives, piecing together a complex puzzle that had eluded them for years. Yet, a significant obstacle had stood in their way. A convicted murderer, whose name remains unspoken, refused to cooperate, withholding vital information from Christie's grieving family. The sheriff highlighted the emotional weight of the investigation, stating, "Today is about providing closure for the family." At that moment, a bittersweet sense of peace began to envelop Debbie, knowing they could finally release the torment of uncertainty that had haunted them for so long. The myriad of distressing scenarios that plagued her mind could finally fade. "I can let that go now," she reflected, acknowledging that they could return Christie home, granting her the respectful burial she deserved. On Christmas Eve 2020, the news struck like a thunderclap. A notorious killer from the Sacramento area had passed away in prison. Mario Garcia, convicted of taking Christie's life in 2005, succumbed to pneumonia just months after Christie's remains had been discovered. Complications from COVID-19 claimed him at the age of 68. The tragic tale of Christie Wilson serves not only as a heartbreaking reminder of loss, but also as a testament to relentless police work, unwavering determination, and an indomitable spirit that refused to surrender. The dedication exhibited by her family and the officers involved in the case is nothing short of inspiring. Detective Don Murchison reflected on the long journey, stating, "We never gave up on trying to find Christy. We searched for her for 15 years. The family, too, held steadfastly to hope, placing their trust in the authorities to recover the most precious part of their lives, Christy. Christie Wilson was a woman deeply loved and cherished, destined for greatness. As Debbie poignantly expressed, I was so blessed to be her mom for 27 years, and that I will carry with me forever." Christie Wilson was celebrated as a deeply loved and cherished individual, destined for greatness. Her mother, Debbie Boyd, reflected on their bond, stating, "I was so blessed to be her mom for 27 years, and that I will carry with me forever." The gratitude expressed to the community was profound. Viewers and patrons alike were invited to join their growing community on Patreon, a platform that provided essential support for their channel's endeavors. The appreciation for every contribution was heartfelt. Membership offered exclusive behind-the-scenes content, additional episodes, and early access to ad-free viewing experiences.